We will step up and we will step in as kaitiaki of our mental health and wellbeing system to listen to tangata whaiora and their whānau, to hold open the space for their voices to be heard and to encourage the growth and broaden the range of mental health and addiction support services that allow people to live with mana and dignity in their communities, connected to the people and the things they love.
Well, we all very well know that regardless of age, disability, gender orientation, faith, whatever, regardless of all that, mental illness, suicide affects us all. And that's a lot to kind of carry day in and day out. But what's never quite said at these tables is that there is so much huge disparity. And number one is doing our bit to recognise and action the voices of our Indigenous, our First Nations people, tangata whenua. And then, of course, your whanaunga, Pacific peoples, and all those others that are underserved.
And that's, for me, why He Ara Oranga is such a treasure, because it says these things, mental health and well-being more broadly, they are the product of social determinants. They are the product of racism, of other forms of discrimination and marginalisation. They are the product of people being disempowered in their communities and their lives. And if we want to improve things, those are the things that we have to address.
You have to be the change. And one of the things that I've learned in the various leadership roles that I've had is that the way to really change things is there's really two things you need to do. You need to take risks. You need to really be ready to take risks. And learn fast from failure. Take a risk, evaluate, learn fast, move on, make it better. Listen the whole time. And the other thing is to realise that to really make change, it's every tiny micro decision that you make as part of a big system. Every single micro tiny choice can lead you in one direction or another direction. And I'm pledging to bring a real consciousness to this piece of work that I've got the honour of being involved with. Bring a real consciousness to the nature of those choices, those micro choices.
When I wrote my cover letter to Minister Andrew Little about this role, I said I wanted to advocate for four things. The first thing on my list is equity for Māori. The second thing on my list is social justice for my peers. The third thing on my list is acknowledgement of the effects of addiction on people's mental health.
No two stories over the journey of my last 20 years in mental health that I have heard have been alike. There is no two ways that people have found well-being. And our challenge is to embrace that uniqueness in the system transformation. I've heard glassblowers describe their final pieces as the sum of every mistake that they've made. That their final pieces they never consider perfect, but they do consider beautiful. And I think that's what we're going to create now. Our challenge in transforming our mental health system and addiction landscape will be to create an Aotearoa that values not only uniqueness, but the part each and every single one of us plays in wellbeing, in growing it for our country. As glass can't be made from a single grain of sand, wellbeing is not one person, one organisation, one government's sole responsibility. It's all of our job. The beauty will be how we melt all of us together.
My promise is that this delicate thing, this idea about improving health and well-being, that takes into account all of those social determinants that He Ara Oranga represents, that the initial commission has been able to continue to foster, that the government seems to actually accept and understand. My promise and undertaking is that my part of this permanent commission will be to keep that flame alive, and to carry the baton for this next part of the journey.
People with lived experience, whānau, communities and priority groups will be at the centre of everything we do. Understanding that transformation will require everyone working together to achieve our goal of better and equitable mental health and wellbeing outcomes for all people in Aotearoa, we pledge ourselves as a board to lead by example. Through listening deeply, supporting our communities and treating each other with manaakitanga, we will build a future where we will flourish together.